This video is going to be a whole week's worth of STEM activities, and the theme is water. For some of these activities, you will need adult supervision. Oh look, it's Monday. I'm so glad you're here. For today's activity, we need a sink full of water and a plastic tub that's going to act like a boat. So I've used a tomato little tub thing. It didn't have any holes in it because that would mean it wouldn't be a very good boat. Now, we know that this floats on water, but my question to you is, can you investigate what you could put in this boat so that it sinks? So you're going to have a look around your house. Maybe you're going to find an object like a toothbrush, and you're going to think, will the toothbrush make the boat sink? Probably not. Let's test. Oh, it didn't. Right, now I'm going to add some toothpaste in a tube, obviously. Will it make it sink? Oh, well, it capsized, so that counts, I guess. So you can see there's a little bit of a challenge in terms of making things balance as well. So the toothpaste itself might not have made the boat capsize, but the way I put it in did. There we go. So now I've got it to float. So what can I do, even if I balance it well, to get this to sink? I'm going to try and put what I think will make it sink. This plant, it's really quite heavy because what it's in is glass, and there's a lot of soil in there, and it's been watered recently, so it's holding a lot of weight. And I'm going to place it in the middle very carefully. And oh no, it sank. So that's your challenge for Monday. What can you put into a little boat to make it sink? If you can make the boat quite small and the body of water quite small as well, you're going to get a lot more things sinking. And just as a note to parents, this is one of those brilliant activities where it's messy, but it's only water, so it's absolutely fine. Enjoy. I'll see you on Tuesday. Oh look, it's Tuesday. I am so glad you're here. Today we are investigating what dissolves in water. So like yesterday, I used my little recycled plastic tub. I thought I'd use it again and get more use out of it. So when something dissolves in water, it means that when you add something to water, you cannot pick it up out again and separate it from the water. It mixes in with it and it becomes one new solution. It might change colour, it might change thickness, it might even change temperature. But the idea is it dissolves means you cannot pick it out with your hands and you cannot see the different bits. To make something dissolve, you might need to stir it for a bit as well. It's not just going to automatically happen. So I want to find out what is going to dissolve in water. And like any experiment we do, we're going to collect some items, predict, test, and then record. So I've collected things from my kitchen. I've got some spice, some smoked paprika. I've got some pepper. I've got some salt. I've got some cooking oil. And I've got my bike cleaner because I need to clean my bike. And what I'm going to do is I am going to take each of these at a time and I'm going to say or write down whether they dissolve in water. For example, pepper. I'm going to think, is the pepper going to dissolve in water? Have I ever had an experience of that before? No. So I'm going to make a guess and think, it's a very fine powder. I'm going to say yes, it's going to dissolve in water. And then I'm going to shake the pepper into the water and stir and find out. When I've finished and I've got my result for that, I will tip away the solution down in the sink and start again with a fresh batch of water. It wouldn't make sense to then add a second thing into the water because we're not testing it fairly. So I've gathered these things from around my house, and if you did my what liquid floats on water challenge, you will be very creative and you'll find some things that I've never even thought of. I know the answers to only about 3 of these. So I can't wait to see what you do. Enjoy. Oh look, it's Wednesday. I am so glad you're here. For today's water STEM experiment, all you need is a glass, actually made from glass, not plastic, and a metal spoon or maybe a fork or something like that. Those materials are really important. And of course, we're going to need access to water. So what we're going to investigate here is the sound that the glass makes when we hit it with a spoon, dependent on how much water is inside. So we're going to fill up the water a little way, maybe halfway, 3/4, and as full as we can. And we're going to predict and then test and find out if the sound changes. Now, how high or how low a sound is called the pitch. If it is a low sound, it is a low pitch. If it is a high sound, it is a high pitch. If you think in terms of a voice, grown-ups usually have lower pitched voices, especially men, and children have higher pitched voices. The younger you are, think about babies and toddlers when they first learn to speak, how high their voices are. That is the pitch. Now what I want you to do is to fill up your glass nearly full, and then you're going to hit it with the spoon and see what sound it makes. And then I want you to go and pour out maybe 1 centimetre or 2 down the glass of water, and then hit it with the spoon and see if you can remember the difference in the sound. See if you can hear it. And then again, we're going to pour some out, pour some out, pour some out. I want you to predict, as we pour the water out, is the pitch of the sound, is it going to go higher to lower, or lower to higher? Is it going to get higher? Is it going to get lower? Is it not going to change at all? Is it going to be up and down and not be something as predictable as that? And I want you to try this now and pause the video, because when I have got you to do that, I'm going to demonstrate so you can see, or rather hear, what it sounds like all in one go. So pause your video now. Okay, hoping that you've unpaused now because you've done the whole experiment and you know. So let's just compare our results, you and me. So this is water almost full. I'm going to pour a bit out. Maybe you couldn't hear the difference between the last two because they were very close, but in general, they were quite different, weren't they? Should we go the other way around now? So from empty. Hopefully you could hear the differences there. Now, the best fun application from this is if you get a few different glasses, filling them up in different levels of water, you could make your own little musical instrument. Well, hello, it is Thursday. I'm so glad you came back. This one is going to be a messy one, so I'm outside. I've got a jug of water, which is obviously our theme for this week, and I've got a cardboard cuboid carton. So this is a milk substitute thing, but you could have apple juice, orange juice, whatever, just making sure it's got those 4 faces there. Now with your adult support, you are going to puncture a hole in the bottom right of every face, as we do on here, so it's just in the same place as you rotate that. And we are going to sellotape some kind of string or shoelace or bit of elastic so that we can hold it and it can suspend and wobble freely. Now what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and make this spin. So I'm going to fill, this is where it gets messy, but just remember it's just water. I'm just going to wait for the noisy traffic. I'm going to fill up this water and it's going to start pouring out there, but as soon as I can, I'm going to lift it up. I'm going to see if it spins. So water through the top. Oh, it's already making a mess, how wonderful. And then we're going to pick it up and it spurts out. Oh, it started to begin to spin. Not like I wanted it to. Let me try this one. Now, I'll always tell you, very important thing about science is you have to fail to figure out how to get better. So that one was a fail for me. I'm going to pour more water in to make it balance a little better when I pick it up, and hopefully, yeah, it started to turn a little bit, but I'm going to suggest that my fault here is that I've taped it at the back and not in the middle. So I'm going to go and tape it in the middle now, see what happens. Okay, so I've moved now my string to hopefully the middle. I'm going to pour in some water as quick as I can. And then I'm going to lift it up and see what happens. Oh, it started to twist. Fantastic. Woo! Now, all I can say for Thursday's activity is I advise you to do the same as me, have an experiment, have a bit of a laugh, make a load of mess, because it's just water and you can go outside and see if you can be a little bit more successful than me and get it to properly twist round as the water pushes out from each of the holes. Enjoy! It's Friday. Happy Friday, people. I'm glad you've been enjoying this week's worth of water experiments. This one's a really fun one, and I'm going to basically teach you how to become a magician. So when you know this trick, don't be telling all your friends. Actually do, that's much better. You're going to need a glass of water. I'm using a plastic one here because I'm outside, and if things go wrong, well, even if I'm inside, I don't want to be breaking any glass. So if I drop this by accident, it's safe. And I'm using a coaster as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn this cup of water upside down. We're going to make our friends and our family think that it's going to spill, but it's not, don't worry. So I'm going to flip the camera now and you'll be able to see. Okay, here we've got our cup of water, our glass of water, and it's filled pretty high up. So the more water we put in, the more risk that the person we're performing this trick on thinks they are under. Then I've put the coaster on top, and you can see that there are no gaps. I've been quite daring then and used like a coaster that's kind of nearly the same diameter as the cup. And then you are carefully, slowly going to turn it upside down. And I have removed my hand from underneath. So there we go. There we've got the coaster underneath there, and the water is completely sealed inside the cup. There we have it. That's a week's worth of STEM experiments all around the theme of water. Hopefully you found that there was little to no extra equipment that you needed, that it was just things around the house, and that you had a lot of fun making mess that's kind of really easy to clean up because it's just water. And to be honest, you've learned so much this week. From Monday's challenge, when we were loading as much as we can into a boat, that's a real life problem. If you can work out how much weight that we can put on things that float, you can help ship things around the world. On Tuesday's challenge, we looked at what dissolves in water. That's really important too. Knowing what we can mix into water helps us make new solutions, new medicines, new foods, new tasty things, all sorts of really important applications there. On Wednesday, we discovered pitch, and I've shown you now the scientific introduction to the world of music, which is just fantastic. And if you can create something like that, maybe you can make your own musical instrument. On Thursday, we looked at water turbines and we looked at water pressure and the physics around that. And if you can create something like that, maybe you can look at renewable energy or something where we can really change the world. And today, Friday, I've taught you a little bit of a magician's trick there, which is loads of fun. But again, we learned about water pressure and how the water squeezed and squeezed against the walls it was in under the coaster. And we were able to, well, fool our friends, hopefully. So I hope you enjoyed, and I will be probably making another one soon.